Hey everyone, this is the May 18th key review for product. Thanks for watching and or attending. Craig, you have the first question, number 3.
Yeah, it's less of a question and more of a comment and a celebration. I think we should celebrate as we hit maturity for SAST. So congrats to the team.
Thanks for that. David?
I mean, first, thanks, Greg. I'd say the team is very excited about it. The team's also now excited about what comes after that. And so we highlight some of that on the kickoff call, which are industry unique features as they roll out. So not only are we now able to displace the main competitors, but we also are going to have some very unique components that make us the de facto leader. The other thing I was just going to add too is at some point, the Magic Quadrant's going to come out, AST Magic Quadrant, and we fared very well. So once that's public, we can make sure it's on the homepage of the website and can talk to how we're doing there as well.
And Anoop?
Yeah, I was going to say there are more ultimate drivers kicking in as well. For example, compliant pipelines has been cited as in multiple deals as a lever, which people are really willing to upgrade to ultimate for because it's that important to them.
Thank you both. Stella, number 4.
Hey, thanks for the SPO analysis. I know that Gila put it in Slack and it showed up again on slide 16. And I think it's really interesting the importance of early adoption. One thing is highlighting the 90% of stage 3 plus happens by day 30. And each time I saw that, I kept asking like, day 30 to what? Is it forever? So that's really my question. What is that time range? And Mike, you had an answer.
Yeah, I can go ahead and verbalize it. So thanks for digging into the data there. So we looked at just the first 90 days for this particular analysis, and Dave has some reasons why below, but I did go in and change the query and move it out to 365, and we see very similar actually data. So it shifts a bit, but that 3-stage usage is at 85% still within that first 30 days. And the 4-stage usage is at 76%. The important thing to note with this data is we don't actually have a full year's worth of the SPO data tracked. So this, I think, is around 10 months total data that we have, which is one of the reasons why we haven't done a full retention analysis of the impact of SPO. But we do have some ideas and an issue for how we might be able to back into that we're going to try. So that's kind of the state of this analysis. And I'll let Dave explain why we chose to do the 90-day window.
Great, thanks, Mike. Yeah, and just to add on to what Mike had to say, we're working with less than a year of data. And the thing is, we can't use a lifetime date range because newer namespaces that were, say, launched last month have much less time to adopt stages than namespaces launched mid last year. And therefore we would just lead to a situation where older namespaces look like they're converting higher when really it's just because they've had a longer amount of time to convert. So that's why we use 90 days as a max window. But just to once again add on to Mike's point, even when looking at longer windows like 180, 270 days, we're seeing that over 80% of namespaces that adopt 3 or more stages are doing it by day 60. And over 90% of them are doing it by day 90. So it's not like we're missing out on a lot of namespace activity.
That's awesome to see. Thank you. And if you put labels and charts, I won't bother you as much, but I think this was helpful for me to hear, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And then I think the next one is also me. So thanks for ensuring the improving the acceptance experience. It was great to see what work was done and the clear impact.
Yeah, and thank you, Stella. So some context on this. When we decided to turn the hard email confirmation on, we know that change will add even more steps to the invitation acceptance flow because invited users need to go through the confirmation. And so we decided to shift resources to work on this area. Sam and the conversion group, expansion group worked on this flow. The flow is very critical because of 2 data points. One is our invitation acceptance rate is already very low. Only 3% of invites are accepted. So basically, majority of invitation sent out are never accepted, which is a big opportunity. The other data point is that we observed the free to paid conversion rate is much higher in those namespaces with more than 2 users. So between these 2 data points, this is a critical flow. This has an opportunity to improve, and this is one kind of one experiment, but we will keep iterating to improve this area as well.
That's awesome. Thanks, Hila. Sid, you're next on number 6.
We're going faster than I expected. So my I'm not ready with it.
Right.
Sid,
Craig, you want to go first?
I can go if while you're chewing there. So I'll do number 7. So I was digging around in the enablement team's KPI page or PI page, and I noticed the LCP. There was a note in the handbook that we actually had a regression in the performance there. I'd love to see if there's a root cause and plans around that, because I know that's really important for the team.
Josh, you want to voice that one over? Do you know the answer?
Craig, I'm representing enablement.
Okay.
For Josh.
Thanks, Andrew.
I don't know the root cause off the top of my head, but I'm happy to investigate, take this offline, and come back to you with an answer.
Yeah, and I'll add, I think part of it was focus. So the thing with LCP is that you measure and you improve, and then when you stop measuring and new features are added into the system and you don't have a method to sort of keep that, then it slips. And we didn't have an OKR for front-end performance last quarter, and so that's why we saw the regressions. This is something we need to get to where we instrument it so it's always available.
Yeah, and this is Josh. I actually can join to some degree, and so I would +1 with what Anoop had said. We found a couple instances where we regressed on LCP due to some front-end changes, and so without that, I think, focus, or alternatively, we need to develop a framework to catch these things in CI. We're going to need to continue to have people looking at them. So we'll need to work on an automated solution to continue to catch these things and flag them in dev before they hit production and cause.
Yeah, it was interesting. The handbook did say something similar, right? It's like, how do we make sure that this is part of just our operating procedure instead of we need an explicit OKR to get there? I think it was a good insight and a good learning. So I'll let the team run with it. So. All right, Sid, are you ready? Back to you.
Yeah. So we have this awesome adoption journey of GitLab. I think this is super clear. I would love to see for each arrow to have its percentage next to it, so we can have a better estimate of kind of how many people are in every stage and what the conversion is from release to monitor, from release to configure, from release to protect. I think as a company, we know that like kind of for every extra stage per organization, we triple conversion. I think the product should kind of, as soon as you're releasing with GitLab, we should suggest these other 3. But I don't know, I wouldn't know where to start. Which one should I suggest first? If we have that data here, the product teams can make more informed decisions of what they suggest to a user. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, I like the idea. Hila is responding in A. Go ahead, Hila.
So yeah, exactly, Sid. We actually did this slides manually. I did this a while ago using manual data, but I just talked with Dave about updating this to something more automatic. Maybe let me share my screen just to make sure we are on the same page in terms of what you want to see here. Yeah. So what we did is the red box is percentage of small of that stage out of mall, something like that. So basically, what's the stage adoption of that stage specifically? And then the yellow box is out of the stage of using create, for example, that 21% there. Out of the small using create, what's the percentage using plan? So the cross adoption between the 2 stages. So single stage adoption is in red, and the cross-stage adoption is in yellow. Is this consistent with what you're thinking about, Sid?
Yeah, very much. And then, so thanks. Yay, I asked for data, it already exists. What this shows you is like create, verify, release is the move to make. Then plan is also popular, but plan doesn't lead to anything else in our understanding. Yeah, it's going upstream, which is pretty hard, and then it doesn't lead to other downstream things. So I think as a company, we should probably figure out which of these happens. So either configure or monitor. And I think today configure, future maybe monitor. And then say, look, our golden play is create, verify, release, monitor. Coin that, figure out a word for it. I'm not sure it's the golden play or something else. And then start driving that. Put the whole company, or not the whole company, but put effort behind that. So kind of by simplifying it, it will be easier for us to double down on it. Because we have this great opportunity every extra stage. If we simplify it, I think it will be easier to drive this behavior. I think in this case, less is more.
Yeah, one thing to add, we didn't calculate the cross adoption between plan versus others. We need to do that because we only did once. We have a path, right?
Yeah,
like
you looked at where are people now instead of do they go from here to there? You just look where did people.
But we need to use data to ideally map everything and then draw the path by data. But yeah, thank you for that guidance. I think we can work on that one.
Great.
Thank you, Hila. Craig, number 8.
This is on pricing. I saw a lot of exciting stuff going in the pricing world. I saw a line that's a define a framework to identify highest priority paid features. Can we say more about that? And I started looking at the issue, but I didn't get very far.
So Xiaohe did some work last quarter. She combined some different data sets. So we had research that we did with Price Intelligently. She also pulled the product leaders and the individual PMs and tried to arrive at what's the one feature that matters the most in terms of driving up tiering behavior. And so it was just an attempt to consolidate what we know about it and put it all in one place.
Got it. Okay, I'll read it async. See if I have any questions, but thanks. That's really interesting. Awesome. My next question is procedural. Slide 21. So excited about Supersonics cloud licensing launch. Go team. And I'd love, as part of this key meeting, to once we have the success metrics, to add it to this forum. That's it.
Yep, great suggestion, Craig. We'll make sure it's there next month.
Awesome. Appreciate that. That's great. I know it's not live yet, so there's nothing to report.
Yeah, but Sindhu and I have met on that what metrics we're tracking and
yeah,
how to set up.
Exactly. Yeah, I've gotten updates that we're instrumenting it well, which is great. It's good to hear. Okay, next topic is NPS. I saw the Q1 NPS survey results are in. I always love getting the new NPS results. I noted, I just looked at the two compare, and in the deck, we should probably call that out, but I had to pull the two up, but I didn't. It looked like the change was detractors were up 3%, promoters were unchanged. So 51% promoters. I think detractors went from 19 to 22, lowering our NPS. I know there's a pricing change was a big factor there, but I just wanted to see if there's any other thoughts based on the data, anything else we should do differently.
Nothing jumped out at me, Craig. We're heavily focused on performance and we're spending everything, I'm not gonna say everything else, but remaining energy on usability stuff. This last quarter, there was a list of 100, we got 70 of those done. So I feel like the teams are focused on usability and performance, which were two of the big negative drivers. There's probably also some downward pressure from the EOA, from the bronze crew. It wasn't incredibly obvious that drove it down, but I have to imagine there was some negative sentiment from that. Not much we can do about that. So no, nothing jumped out at me as changing priorities or direction. Stella?
Yeah, just an observation. The confidence range of 95% for 22 to 33, which is pretty much encompasses all scores we've had in the last year, feels pretty broad. So to say something really conclusive about like up and down, it would be great to see if we can get some more inputs in order to kind of get a little tighter there.
Yeah, we're currently polling our SaaS base, and we get 4%. The aim is to ask everyone to respond once a year. We don't want to pound them with this thing all the time. So we're getting about 4 to 5% response from our SaaS base, and that limits the N. We would like to start getting responses from self-managed as well, but we need some improvements to the in-app messaging feature, which we just haven't prioritized yet. Hopefully we'll get to it at some point, and that could increase the N, although we'll probably still have to bifurcate the score because self-managed is a different segment.
I'll add 3 themes. So we see a lot of performance and other patterns that appear. The 3 themes that are repeated across SaaS, NPS, and customer interactions are SaaS security capabilities. As more and more enterprise customers, they want SaaS to have all the capabilities our self-managed installations have, and more. Large MR performance, which we have an OKR for, and SaaS runner perceived performance, where for various reasons in the shared runner, we are waiting for the runner to kick in, so it takes a longer time for the pipeline to run. These 3 are the highest signal problems. We get a lot of other things, but like these are the most meaningful ones, and the team's focused on 2 and 3 pretty well. The SaaS security capabilities is the one where we're not as well positioned. That's because the team's been spending a lot of time on infra dev issues. So as soon as that transition and that system stabilizes, we'll go back and focus on those capabilities. And I do believe that unless we solve these 3 problems, we're going to continue to see, we won't be able to see meaningful increases in SaaS or NPS, because these are the 3 blockers. We can do a lot of small things, but these are the 3 big blockers.
Josh?
Yeah, I just, on the performance front, I did forget to mention that we do have, we are adding front-end performance, which is what that page load time is, Greg, to our error budgets. We have back-end performance already in there, so we're adding front-end performance. And then that's a PI that all stage groups are now working towards. And we're introducing that whole error budget concept to the teams this quarter via an OKR, but it will continue to be a PI in perpetuity. So that will also help to maintain our focus here going forward.
Thanks, Josh. Danielle, number 11.
Yes, I just looking at the org chart slide, I just wanted to say welcome to Keith, because I think he's been here a while and I just didn't really realize it. I'm wondering how the change of adding him to the team just changes the dynamic for the DRI around pricing. I think had a lot of different people step into that role, including Xiaohe and I think Sid. So just looking for some clarity there. I added some more details in the question, but I'll stop there since I think Sid already wrote an answer.
Yeah, pricing is a cross-functional concern. So for now, I'm the DRI on pricing. I was not the DRI on the pricing page, which you alluded to. That was marketing. Mm-hmm. I think although the page improved, we were still communicating features. So I stepped in myself to go to a value-driven pricing page. So we're now set. We did an A/B test, and apparently, with my suggestion to communicate themes, that was extremely successful. So now we're wrapping that up. Not all the changes I suggested were in the first iteration, so we're now doing a second iteration to get those in.
So just so I understand, will the definition of the DRI for pricing be they set it, but they're not responsible for figuring out how it gets communicated?
I don't want to be in the business of figuring out how to communicate it. I think normally product marketing would do that. And I think product marketing fell short of kind of communicating value via themes instead of features. So that's what I'm now trying to achieve. Mm-hmm. And so far that's been going really well. And the next sprint should be in a couple of weeks. And then I'll hopefully back away from optimizing the pricing page.
Cool. That's really helpful to clarify the gap so that I can explain to people why we're doing what we're doing. So thank you for that.
Welcome.
All right, Christy, if you